Hello!
Hello!
Welcome to the Lowdown. With me, Jack Wilson.
And me, Ben Beetham.
I'm going to talk you through what Ben's wearing. We are in the same room. We've been self-isolating together, getting up to all sorts of musical mischief. I'm going to tell you what Ben's wearing. He's got a black t-shirt, black jeans, black socks with what I can only describe as rainbow drop-looking colours scheme. And he's wearing a silver chain.
Nice. I'm going to do from top to forehead. And I'd say those are some beautiful loafers you got on. The rest of your clothes are black and beautiful. And
Minus the socks.
And you're sporting a new hairstyle that I think at the time of recording, I think it's 2 days old, 1 day old.
1 day old. Less than 24 hours.
It's looking amazing.
I feel like a Spartan warrior.
It's good, man. I would definitely, I'd like to touch it, but I'm going to stay safe.
Yeah, give it a few weeks. As soon I know that we'll be counting down
hair
until
lockdown.
We can touch that hair. I literally want to go up to him and be like, touch it. Can't.
Right,
so welcome to Lockdown, Lowdown. It's a podcast we're going to be doing hopefully every week. Hopefully you guys like it. And we're just going to be listening to a few songs by other bands that we really like, critiquing them as such. And we're going to play you one of our own unreleased demos, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun whilst we're doing it.
Can't wait. Always wanted to do a podcast, to be honest with you.
Well, here we go.
Yeah, I've listened to many, so
it's taken this to get there, but here we go. And we both got a half a bottle of Buckfast each. Ben's drinking his out of a pint can. No, not a can, sorry, a pint glass.
A crystal glass.
We're trying to make this as descriptive as possible, but maybe soon we'll get a camera in the studio.
Yeah, man.
We're going to start off with one of our favourite games, and that is Animal Fact of the Week! Right, so our first ever Animal Fact of the Week comes in from a local lady by the name Mairead Campbell, lives in Hastings.
Who?
Yeah, I know.
Nah.
She sent me in 3, actually. I said to her, could you send me some animal facts? And here we go. Here's Animal Fact of the Week. Ben, did you know that slugs have 4 noses?
What? Where? Located where?
Don't know, mate.
I reckon fucking quarter of the way up the body each, man.
Somewhere along the side, I reckon. What do they need 4 noses for? I don't even need 1 nose.
Sniff their own shit.
Yeah,
probably.
Sniff the leaf.
As we all wish we could.
4 times as much. Yeah. It's stronger than a dog's or a bear's. Or
do they have 2 nostrils on each nose?
Yeah, that's it. Is it like some sort of... I don't know.
Like sniffing through your ears. Fuck.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
I wonder if they hear smells.
Yeah.
Or smell noises.
What was the thing where it's like, would you rather have like toes, 1 toe for a penis, or 4 for 10 penises for toes?
Both are so horrible.
Yeah. No.
Oh, we should do a Would You Rather segment.
Yeah.
What a classic one that me and Ben always say when we're trying to be PG is, would you rather always have a hair in your mouth or always have a twitch in your eye? Yeah.
I think that's
you got a twitch in your eye and a hair in your mouth.
Yeah. And there is another one we always do, but that's for the uncut DVD
that's not
when we
safe
release
for work.
that. Yeah.
That'll get us. Nobody will listen.
Cancelled before we even start.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've had our animal fact of the week, and I think we're going to listen to a tune. I'm going to suggest a tune that I know you've heard before, and it's a tune we've all heard before. It's from a band that we listen to a lot, especially when we're driving around. But this was a song that kind of passed me by, and now I've listened to it again, and I absolutely love it. And it is by the one and only D-Mob Happy, and the song is called Auto Portrait. We're going to play you guys a little bit of it, but we're going to put the link in the... we'll put a playlist link in there so you can go and give them the streams they truly deserve rather than us.
Let's have a little listen.
Let's go.
Everybody thinks that I'm someone maybe I don't want to be. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, served up on a plate for me. I know nothing wrong could happen while I'm still in love with you. I know nothing wrong could happen while I'm still in love with you. I get up, I get down.
Oh man, that is a banger.
Yeah, one of my favourites. I mean, they are banger after banger. But
Oh, well, the thing is, man, they came and just like they've definitely brought their own vibe to the table, man. Like, I remember when we first heard him, we were suddenly like, whoa, man,
I remember sitting in the van, maybe like even only a year ago or something, and I think it was you and Eddie being like, yeah, listen, you had been talking about D-Mob for a long time, and so had Eddie, and I was late to the party, but I got there at maybe 2 a.m. to that party, and it was still kicking off. Yeah, it was one of them ones that carried on for days. And I'm so glad I've heard all their stuff. I love it so much, and it's, so I think it's quite different from what. I think it's hard to like do that sort of music and for it to be good.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Do, you know what I mean?
Do stuff that's more left to centre, but make it so like as soon as you hear it, you can just completely
So
get on
poppy.
board with it.
That hook in there, the one like the pre-chorus hook is just one of my all-time favourite hooks with the little Futurama like bong bong little bells. I love
so
that.
nice hearing that amount of melody, that amount of harmony and stuff, but also people who've got like their own identity on record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that as well. You hear them, you instantly are like, cool, that's them.
Bringing
what
together a lot of very big influences, but creating their own thing out of that, which, I think we've always been. There's a lot of people who go down the route of saying, oh, you're copying this, you're copying that. I'm talking about ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to like. Everyone's influenced by something, and I definitely think if you combine influences, that's how you create new.
Yeah, man. It
genres.
always is. And I think I mean, for us particularly, like, it took a long time of trial and error and whatever, and then eventually you it's only in hindsight that you look back and you go, oh, cool, those influences ended up in the end result.
Yeah.
But you're not really thinking about them on the road to it. Do you know
Well,
what
I find it interesting now, especially with us, when people come up to us and a lot of people go, oh, yeah, you really sound like Blur. And it's like, we never tried to.
Man.
Like, there's some when people come up to us and they're like, like Slaves or Queens of Stone Age. And we're like, yeah, we love them bands. We've always listened to them, and we definitely took an influence from them. But when people say things like, and you get a lot of people saying the same thing, you sound like Blur, you sound like this. And it's like, that's mad. Because we've never
had that in our minds or in our sort of palettes.
Don't even really listen to them that much. So it's interesting when that stuff comes out, and it's I quite
love
like
it,
that.
man. I love it. I think there's a lot of good music happening at the moment in our scene, and it's cool. Like, definitely D-Mob are like up there flying. I remember seeing when they were relatively coming up, from my vision of them from the outside looking in, and they were doing all that touring in America and stuff. And I was like, fuck, man, that looks like.
I still haven't seen them.
Oh,
still haven't seen them.
Neither.
And it might be a while until we do.
Yeah, that's it. If you're listening.
Yeah, we're talking about this earlier, like the state of current affairs and what's going on. I know all of you are probably sitting indoors listening to this, hopefully, and we're trying to give a bit of a break from the monotony and boredom, but it's scary times. We don't really know quite what's going to happen. We were talking about it earlier, with
yeah, man.
Here's a question. How do you continue to be a band when the one thing that makes you a band and the one thing that people really love is seeing you live, and you can't do that?
Yeah.
What do you do?
The answer to that question is right up in the air at the moment. Like, for us, it's mad. Like, there's a lot of different things being talked about, but the worst case scenario being like, talking about time scales of years until you can do something, and some talking about months. Obviously, we just don't know. But yeah, it's super mad. Like, obviously there's a greater worry, and there's a greater context to the whole thing. But I guess sometimes after being concerned about other people, you then think about how it affects your own sphere.
Of course.
And for us, it's just kind of like the whole thing could potentially be pretty fucked, man.
Well, when you're in a band, everything's planned in, like, everything is planned ahead for years. Like, we knew what we were doing this time next year. Everything's always so far ahead planned, and now we have to just accept that we do not have any idea what's going to happen, and we have to just wait and see. And that's a hard thing to comprehend when everything is always based in months and years. When you're a band, like, on the outside looking in, it's like, oh, here's a new single. Yeah, that single's been planned for 6 months.
Yeah,
we recorded that last year.
Yeah,
and we've had we knew exactly how this was going to go. This day we were going to do this we're going to do that. It's nothing ever takes you by surprise. But now we're in a position where we have no idea what we're going to be doing. All we know is that we will continue doing what we're doing, and hopefully something good will come out of this. I know we've been writing a lot more than we would have been able to.
I think that the album, which is in the works, is definitely a silver lining is that the album is going to be better than it was going to be.
Yeah, 100%.
Without a doubt, you know, like, and that is cool.
I think that should go for every band. I think, not to sound like I'm critiquing anyone, but if whatever you're working on doesn't become better after this, doing something wrong probably.
Yeah. Well, as well, because I think like it's one thing where we weren't necessarily writing under pressure, which often breeds the best stuff, but also like your kind of whole mentality is like completely weird, and you're feeling quite sort of scared, and you're feeling quite anxious. And you're not feeling happy.
The
you know
best
what I mean?
music
Like,
comes out of them times.
You know, I don't think anyone's feeling happy right now, because I think like everyone's feeling a bit like, what the hell's going on, man? I can't believe what's happening. So I think if you are going to create in this time, it's probably going to be a bit dark, but it's going to be quite real, and it's going to be quite raw, you know?
Yeah.
It's raw, come on!
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like you were saying, that the album, which was kind of, in terms of the writing process, was done.
Yeah.
That's no longer the case, but in a really good way. We've come back from this tour, which... Thank you, everyone, for coming to see us.
Man.
That was the most amazing few weeks of our life. It was
best thing we've done musically ever.
It was insane. We did not expect it to go how it went. And I keep feeling sorry for myself someday, being like, you know, like, we're not going to get to do that for a long time. But also, we keep reminding ourselves of how lucky we were
to get to do it.
That we did get to do it in the first place. And, you know, we only lost one show in the UK and a few in Europe, which have all been postponed anyway. So... but yeah, like, as a result, we've just been able to write so much more. And the last 3-4 songs we've done, I'm just
really happy with. Do you know what I mean? Like,
they would never have existed.
That's it. I mean, even like on the first day, there was something that prevented us from writing. This is another thing that's weird. It prevented us from writing on this first day we were getting together. So we had to get a couple of days later, writing on the same like little vibe that we got together. And then we wrote this wicked song on it like a couple of days later. And we were both like, do you think this song would have happened
if we had
done it on Monday?
We were meant to be writing on the Monday, and then it couldn't happen. And we were set ready to write it, and we got postponed until Wednesday. And then the whole, like, you have to ask yourself, we were very happy with the song that came out on the Wednesday, and we were like, would that have happened if we had written that on the Monday? It's so confusing. Would it have been better if we written on the Monday? Would it have been better if we written it the
Would
day
it have
after?
been basically the same but slightly different?
So
like,
weird.
It's weird, isn't it? Like,
because I mean, particularly with that song, and you'll understand it when you hear it. Something came out of it. A big part of that song is based around something that just happened by chance. A thing that you said, and we were like, Let's do that,
yeah.
And now it's like the main...
Right near the end as well, you go, oh, what about this effect? And then suddenly that
changes the whole vibe of the song.
The whole thing.
Go back and you change this and you change that. Yeah, no, the writing experience of this, like, that's... Luckily, we have this time to be able to do that. But anyway,
It's crazy because I think, like, as well, and we can edit this later if it gets a bit long, but what's crazy is, like, people always say that whole thing of, like, oh, your first album, like, you have a lot of time to write it, and it's your whole life up until that point you have to write it. So often the first album's amazing, and the second is so much harder. But I think what I like about us is that more often than not, when we block out a time to go and do something, we get out of it what we set to achieve. You know? For whatever reason, like, we've been lucky in that, like, you know, so I think, I mean, I don't want to speak to you soon. Album 1's not even out. But, do you know what I mean? I really like that part of our process.
There was that thing we were saying where we were talking in the group chat and Eddie sent over, like, the potential track list for the album. We were like, Jesus.
First time we'd seen it.
Yeah, like, it's so mental what the work that goes into creating an album, especially, as Ben says, a debut album, because that's your introduction to the world, kind of, you know, like, everything up until that point is important, but this is it, you know, your life's work. And to finally, you know, you spend years working on it, recording bits, doing that, re-recording bits, rewriting songs. So to see, like, a track list from 1 to 10, 11, 12 songs that are, like, the cream of the crop is, you're like, wow, I would enjoy that.
If you could buy an album, I would buy it.
The thing is, like, when we first left to go on tour, It's hard to explain because you write a song, you love it, you record a song, you love it, and then the point is, when everyone else is first hearing that song, you've heard it a million times. You lose all context of whether it's good or not.
Yeah, man.
You have no idea.
Sometimes a lot. Sometimes you're like, I don't think this is good anymore. And then it's weird because you say in your head like, oh, well, what other people think doesn't validate it. But when you lose your confidence in it because there is a lot riding on that release, as soon as you see people like it, it reminds you of,
oh yeah, it is good.
Because when you come out the writing room, you're like, yes, man.
I just remember when we had written 2019, which was probably our first song that did well, our first song that we really pushed to do anything. You know, before that we were just kind of, what happens. Before that came out, me and Ben were driving around London, and we were literally, it was like 2 weeks before the release, and there was all this potential of radio stuff. Maybe this might happen, that might happen. And we were going, oh God, I don't know if anyone's going to like it. I don't know if, is it shit? I don't know.
Yeah, we listened to it, and then it'd be like, oh, I'm
if
really,
it gets
really
played
concerned.
once on Radio 1, we'll like die. And
That's
then it was
it.
just like, from then onwards, everything we've had out has just done that, and it's mad, isn't it? Like,
it's nice, but the thing is like weirdly, even though you've been through the process of going like, is this good? Yo, I'm worried about it, and it's out, and you love it again, not again, but you're reminded of why you love it. You still feel that every time, not every time, but like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like
for me, every time I'm always like, we write a song and we love it, and then it comes out, and before it comes out, the build up, you're just like, what if everyone hates it? What if everyone does think this is the worst thing ever?
Maybe that's just anxiety.
Hasn't happened yet, though.
Nah, exactly.
Every time everyone's like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sipping on a Buckfast right now. I haven't had a drink in 5 weeks.
That's it, man.
And I feel
fucking
absolutely blooded.
Oh.
Anyway, I think it's time for our favourite show ever. What time is it?
What time is it? Tell me what is the time? What time is it? Tell me what is the time?
So let me explain to you. This is a game we're going to play every week, and it's called... You've been cheating,
I
man.
didn't. I promise you, I didn't.
My phone just lit up.
If my glance told me what the time was, I'd be way off. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
This part of the show is called What Time Is It? And this week, I'm going to be asking Ben what the time is. And if he can get it right, he wins. And if he doesn't, he has to run around licking all the escalators and shopping trolleys.
Yeah, I've got to let.
So, Ben, let me ask you now. What time is it?
I'm going to say 16:15.
Oh, you're not far off. You're not far off. It's
What?
16:22.
Woo!
Yeah, there you go. That was what time is it?
I think, to be fair, maybe in the future, like I think the idea with this is that eventually, though, when it is allowed, we'll have guests on the show.
Yeah.
And we can compete.
Oh, well, actually, speaking of guests and all that, we've created a new email address, which is...
It is kapichipodcast@gmail.com.
kapichipodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to be on the show via a electronic wave or some form of Skype or phone call, then give us an email. Also, if you have an animal fact of the week, give us an email.
If you want to guess what the time is.
If you want to guess what the time is, give us an email.
I imagine that you get an email with the time that is nearly the time. They have to guess when we're even recording it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that would be beautiful.
all right.
That would be hard.
Okay, if you can guess what the time is.
The thing is, it sounds like an easy thing, but we're sitting in a room with no windows. We don't know what time it is.
Nah.
We don't know what day of the week it is.
Yeah.
We don't know what year it is.
That's why we invented the game.
That's
We're
it.
trying
We
to
genuinely
fucking
want to know
find
what
out,
the time
man.
is. Can you tell us? Right. So, as some of you may know, we have a good friend of ours who comes with us, part of the entourage. Shout out to Slick Dicky Ricky, also known as Bladders as well.
Man.
He's important. And another lovely young man who comes and sells merchandise for us. His name is Big Sexy.
Hit it!
Yeah. I want to introduce you to my friend. He goes by the name, 'cause he's so big and he's so goddamn sexy. They call it Big Sexy.
So we'd like to get Big Sexy on the phone, and we call this Big Sexy Story Time. And he's going to tell you a story. He's a well-travelled man. He's been to Scotland. Has he been to Scotland?
I think he's been to all
No, I
the British
don't think-
Isles.
Been to apparently all the British Isles.
We'll ask him.
I know he's been to Bexhill
Yeah.
Eastbourne.
Yeah.
He's a well-travelled man.
He's been as far as Hurstman Zoo.
Yeah, he's been right up the A21. So we're going to get Big Sexy on the line now.
He's always got a tall tale for us.
Beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, boop, boop. Getting Big Sexy on the line.
Oh, big line.
It's ringing.
Hello?
Hello, Big Sexy.
You alright, Jack?
Hey!
All good, man. How are you? How's lockdown treating you?
Yeah, it's all good, mate. Just been in the garden today, cutting down the hedges, mowing the lawn, getting bits done,
Nice.
germinating chili seeds, all the sort of boring stuff you do in lockdown when you've got nothing else to do.
I hope that's not a euphemism.
No, it's not. Like, you know me, I'm a spicy boy. I like spicy.
I'll let you say hello to Ben now.
Alright, Ben, how's it going?
It's going all right, mate. How's the lockdown?
Yeah, good, mate. You?
Yeah, mate. Happy as a fucking clam, son.
How's Grandma doing? She all good?
She's all right. She's been talking about you a lot, mate.
It's a scary time, isn't it? You know, like...
She wants a big cuddle from Big Sexy, man.
I ain't even been able to see my grandma since all this has started.
Shit, no cakes. No cakes in the freezer ready when you get back from tour.
Yeah, no lemon drizz in the freezer.
Mate, I ain't about that busy if it ain't no lemon drizz, you know.
Lemon drizzle for shizzle, huh?
Oh, mate, we love the lemon drizz.
Well, we brought you on the show for one reason and many reasons, but this reason in particular.
Love, mainly.
You're the king of stories. Now that's a fact.
Oh, cheers, man. Thank you.
Bladders is the king of puns and you're the king of stories. Tall tales, if you will. So let's just fire away. Tell us one of your stories.
Right, I'm going to start with a bit of a light-hearted, funny one, as it's quite a sad time. There is one about a van, but I'm going to save that for later on. That's an inside joke you'll find out in the next episode. So, yeah, I'm just going to tell a story. The year's 2011. The Red Hot Chili Peppers are playing at the O2 Arena. And my friend Louis said to me that he would get us tickets because I'd got tickets for the previous gig. So anyway, out of my better judgment, I trusted him to get the tickets. When we finally got to the O2 Arena that day, all my friends had standing tickets. And I found out that we had restricted view seats.
Oh,
not having that.
Fuck's sake, Louis.
And you know me, like, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and by the look on my face, I was ready to kill him. And
fuck you, Louis.
We went into the O2 bar. He went to buy me a few drinks to just try and chill me out. And the whole time I've got a face like thunder because, you know, it's meant to be the first time seeing the Red Hot Chili Peppers. No one really wants to be seated miles away where you can't even see the stage.
The flea would literally look like a flea.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. So I had the right hump on. And after we had a few drinks, I was still sulking. And this female security guard said to me, she was like, "Why are you so miserable? You look like someone's died." I was like, "Well, a part of me has died. I've just found out. We've got restricted view tickets." And I said to my mate, "Look, mate, I'm not watching the band in restricted view tickets. We're going to fucking sneak in. We just got to try and get in down to stand in." So, acting cool, smiling, chatting, felt like I was on a bank job or something. Not that I've ever done one. But yeah, it was pretty intense, all the security looking at you, especially after a few beers and whatever. So we're walking along, and the first person looks at me, I go, "You all right, mate?" Start walking down. So we're through the first corridor. We've got to if you've been to the O2 Arena, you'll know you've got like steps going down to stand in. And we start walking down the steps, and I'm thinking we're nearly there. As I get a bit further down, I see that they're checking wristbands. Because when we exchanged tickets, we've got wristbands. So I'm thinking, oh, we're fucked here. There's nothing we can do. So I just start slowly walking down thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? With that, a massive fight breaks out at the bottom of the stairway. I can't believe my fucking luck. I'm like, this is it. This is now or never. So I just made a dart for it, and you know, I'm a big guy, I'm like 6'4", 6'5". I wasn't quite as big as I am now back then, but I probably wasn't as sexy either. So.
Medium sexy.
You win some, you lose some.
Medium rare.
I just made a dart for it, and as the
Dart
rock
for
got
tunnel.
yeah, fucking thing. Let's not go into that. We'll save that for another rant. We'll save that for a rant day. But so yeah, made a dart for it. I hear a security guard going, "Oi, mate!" And for the life of me, I just did not look around, and I ran into the front of the crowd. My mate, on the other hand, got caught coming down the stairs.
Oh, mate.
But,
Live and let die, that's what I say.
Who was it, though? Was that your mate that fucked you on the tickets?
Yeah,
fucking good. Good.
Come, chameleon.
If you're listening, whoever that is.
Mate. So there I am, front row, standing, Red Hot Chili Peppers, eating those strawberries, Zen boys.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Well, Big Sexy, that was an absolute pleasure. It's been amazing to hear your voice, and we can't wait to see your beautiful self soon.
Mate.
Yeah, no, man, it's nice to speak to you, and I can't wait for this to all over. You boys, me and Bladders.
We're going to do a full podcast, man. Everyone in one room, mate. That's going to be the banger.
It's the reality of the world we live in now. Right.
Yeah. Love you, boys. Have a good one. Thanks for having me, and long live Kid Kapichi.
Thank you very much. See you later, my boy.
See you later.
Enjoy your chilies.
Love you, Big.
Ah, the big boy himself.
Oh, mate.
The beautiful man.
It's good to be at gigs with him. I couldn't make it to a gig you all went to together, correct? You went
Frank
to the
Carr
Ali
and the
Pali.
Rattlesnakes, Ali Pali.
Oh, man.
What a gig that was.
Could not make it to that. That was it looked like, I watched on the story, it looked like an absolute ripper.
It was
man.
mad. Shout out to Bruce McKinnon who drove us there. We got there and we'd been held up by a load of traffic. We took an exit because Eddie needed a waz. Is that what you call it?
Classic, yeah.
Is it waz?
It is.
Eddie needed a waz. And we took a detour, and then it took forever to get back onto the old motorway. But we made it eventually, and we got there, and we said, "Oh yeah, it's guest list for Frank Carter." And some lady just came out of nowhere and was like, "Oh, I'll take you there." She worked there. She wasn't just some random lady, and guided us through Alexandra Palace into this amazing gold laden room with pool tables and smoking areas and toilets. They had toilets with locks on the doors. It was honestly, you should have been there,
mate. When you haven't got to use a toilet with your foot jammed against the fucking hinges, man, it's the best thing.
Years of being in a band.
Oh, you're just yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Every gig, the first thing we do, put the stuff in, and everyone comes in and goes, "Is there locks on the toilets?" Yeah. Oh my god, this is gonna be the best gig ever.
Oh man, I remember the last fucking gig, man. I remember we come off stage in Southampton. It was one of the last dates, so we were really knackered. We were really knackered, and I took most of my clothes off after
he was
the
down
gig
to
in the
his
dressing room.
tighty whities.
I was just in my pants on the sofa in the thing, sweating
That's a usual occurrence in a Kapichi dressing room.
Yeah, you got to get it down to your skivvies after, man. And
straight
then
down to your
anyway, this lady suddenly just burst in the room, and we were all quite polite, so it was
Benny's the most polite.
Yeah, the most polite. And I was literally so sweaty, just in my pants, knackered. She was coming at me. She was just like, "Oh, you alright?" So I was like, "Oh, thank you so much. Glad you enjoyed the show, but I just need 5 minutes if that's cool. I'm pretty knackered." And then she's there. She starts she gets a knife out. She's putting drugs on a knife, putting it in my face, and I'm like, "Look,
no.
I just need 5 minutes. Can you just please
It's the closest I've ever seen Ben to not being polite.
Yeah,
I was when Ben's not polite, I feel like I have to take. That's the only time it's ever happened. But I'm normally the one that's like, "You fuck off."
Yeah, exactly.
And Ben was literally getting to the point where he's going, "Look, can you just leave?
Can you just
trying to get
please
ready.
give me 5 minutes?" Bearing in mind, I'm clear. It's not like I'm just on the phone or something. I'm in my underwear,
Tight
sweating
whites.
with my eyes closed, sitting on the sofa. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't be more in relaxation.
Yeah, I was like, "Can you? Yeah, we'll come see you in a minute. We'll come see you in a minute."
If you're listening, you know who.
Yeah,
you
if
are.
you're listening, fuck off. You ruined that gig for us.
We love all of the fans.
Yeah, we love all the fans, but people who just
not the
walk
ones that
into
don't
your,
respect
do you know what I mean?
our boundaries.
Yeah,
Which 99% do.
Yeah, it's always fine. But that was a particularly what are you doing?
Yeah.
We're asking you to leave. You're in our dressing room.
I mean, in fact, later I was actually on a phone call at the bar having a conversation on the phone, and the same person comes up behind me and grabs me. He's like, "Oh, look at this." I was like, "Yeah, I'm just on the phone." And then they were like, "Oh, do this."
I'm on the phone to the police. They're coming now.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, enough about that. Rant over.
Yeah, no, but I feel you on that one, most definitely. Well, we're back to our second pick a tune.
Ooh.
Ben, I don't know if you have one planned or not, but fire away if you do.
It's not as fresh as
with a
your
P
one.
or with an F?
Both.
Oh.
I'm saying FPH.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Double F.
Ah.
But yeah, I've been hitting this tune up this week. I've been on a mad I watched the live action version of Lady and the Tramp the other day. As a family, it was a family viewing. I would rate it in the middle of
5 out of
0
2.5
10.
out of 5.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? And anyway, but the one thing that was good was that it got me into the idea of like old jazz. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I hit this up a little bit, but Louis Armstrong.
Damn.
And let me just find it, because actually, like, I'll tell you what. Tell me what you think, listeners. Like, does this not fill your heart with something where you're just like, oh,
here it comes again. Link will be in the playlist. Go have a listen to it. Give them the streams they deserve.
That's it. That's it. And here it is.
Heaven, I'm in heaven. And my heart beats so that I can hardly speak. And I seem to find the happiness I see when we're out together, dance cheek to cheek. Yes, heaven, I'm in heaven. And the cares that hung around me through the week.
That was truly beautiful.
Thank you.
I felt like I was in New York on Christmas Eve.
It does fill me like with good feelings when that happens. Like I've been trying my hand at piano quite a lot recently. I've been really in the lockdown, absolutely knuckling down, practicing like 2 hours a day.
Smashing it. He's being too bloody modest is what he's being, but he's actually insanely good.
For this music, that's like all of the music you hear in those days, all advanced like he's playing, man. If you can do that, then it's the best. Like Wild Willie, man. We know this guy Wild Willie, who's like the keys master, man. And like when he gets on, and like I remember you said to him, you were like, "Can you do that like honky tonk style?
Can you do that like ragtime stuff?" And he's just like, "What do you mean like?" We were at
this like I remember there was like there's this festival around here called Small World, which is like proper hippie fest. It's like wicked. Like until recently, it was like no electronic music, only live music, even like no lights at night. Do you know what I mean? That level of hippie. I love it. And there's one tent that just has like an old beaten up piano in it, yeah. And we all went to it together. And Wild Willie just suddenly sits down, like we'd all been like drinking all night, and then suddenly like about 11 p.m. he sees this piano and goes over. Everyone just kind of like, oh, just like lying around in this thing. He sits down, starts hitting up the ragtime for 3 hours straight, man. And then everyone's up and everyone's just shrouded around this piano, like loving it, man. It was wicked.
He is, honestly. As good as anyone could ever be at playing the keys.
That's it.
Playing the old ivory.
A master.
Yeah, indeed. 100,000 hours and over. Definitely. Yeah, he's amazing, man. Well, no, that was a beautiful song. I enjoyed it a lot. As reminds me, was it Cab Calloway? Not really, but like 20 years later or something.
In the rabbit hole I explored with those tunes, he was in there, man.
It's beautiful stuff. It's like, I always have, for me, there's always like 1 or 2 records that somehow just like take me to a place that is just beautiful. For me, it's always been Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. I can listen to that. I don't know whether it's one of them things you've got to go, I listen to that a lot on repeat during a certain time of my life. Do I love that album because I was having a really good time and I was playing that music a lot of the time? Or did I have a really good time because I was playing that music?
Did it bolster that time?
Do you know what I mean?
It's weird, like they say that, and I don't know if this is true for the time in your life that you're saying, but on top of that, they say that the music you listen to from when you're like 11 to like 15, like imprints itself on you as always being like your favourite, even when you listen, even whatever it is, even if it's super cheap, you listen to it forever your life and you're like,
that part
I love it.
Is that, and again, flip that question on his head, is that because that part of your life is probably the most carefree part of your life?
And you're becoming who you are.
Yeah.
A bit more.
Or is it the other way around? Is it that music is creates who you are? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Very,
100%.
Very interesting. Send your emails in to kapichipodcast@gmail.com.
If you like music, email.
Do you like music? Do you have an email address? Then call us on that email address.
darksideofthemoon.com.
Right, we're going to try something now. It may or may not work. And I'm going to give Max Thompson a ring.
AKA Bladders.
well, mate.
Hello, mate.
How you doing?
Is this Bladders?
This is Bladders.
Slick Dickie Richards.
Slick Dick Richards.
The Pilchmeister 2000.
Bulk powers in the place.
Right, you're live on Kapichi podcast, and I know I've thrown this on you at the last minute, but we want to know your favourite Lord of the Rings quote. Go.
Alright, easy.
Easy peas.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boy.
What about their legs? They don't need those.
Yeah, when are we going to get some meat?
And that was Bladders, ladies and gentlemen. Bladders, it's been an absolute pleasure. We can't wait to see you again on next week's episode of Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings,
Lord of the Rings. La, la, la.
Anything you wanted to say to the masses?
No.
I love you, man.
I miss being in the tour van.
Oh, mate, same as. I miss that stink, boy.
Oh, bye.
I'll see you soon, Bladnator.
Yeah, see you soon, mate.
Look after yourself.
Love you, brother.
Love you.
Bye.
Good on.
How was the quality of your call? We've got an option of 5 stars. What do we reckon, Ben?
I think 5.
Yeah, to be fair.
Sometimes I'm honest with them.
Yeah, same. But do you know what the annoying thing is? When you sometimes put like 1, because it was a really shit one, they go, well, why?
And I'm like,
I didn't sign up for
I'm
this.
not breaking up with you.
Do you know what I mean? Well, why? What's wrong? What
How
have
would
I done?
you rate this relationship?
Look, it's fine. It just wasn't the best.
Look,
Okay, well, just give me a few pointers. No!
It wasn't you, it
No,
was me.
Mark.
It was my reception.
There we go. That was Bladders on the line with LOTR.
I missed the crew, man. I missed the full crew.
Same as.
G-Mac and Eddie will both be making an appearance through call and phone link through this, man. Don't you worry
Luckily,
about
me
that.
and Ben have been self-isolating together for the time, so we knew we had to write stuff and get on with
That's it.
stuff, so we've been lucky enough to do that, but we will have the other 2 involved very soon.
Yeah, man. I mean, when it's all over, like we say, it's going to be all of us in a room and guests from Hastings. Actually, it's worth mentioning that actually, like, the idea of this, if indeed it continues because people like it, which I think it will.
It definitely will.
If they enjoy it as much as me and you enjoying it. We'll get some Hastings guests on, man. Hastings is a rich...
And maybe
you know
some
what I mean?
not Hastings guests.
All right.
You never know.
All right.
Maybe we'll explore. Maybe we'll go to Sevenoaks or something.
Yeah, man.
You know?
I reckon we'd get Elon Musk on here.
He'd love it. We're going to play another game now, and it is called Parlez Français?
Oh, right.
Est-ce que tu parles français?
Non, madame, je ne parle pas français. Ouais.
Ouh là là, monsieur.
So,
Wait.
here we go. So, we're going to move on to the next part of our show, another game show that me and Ben have masterminded. And Ben, do you want to tell them what it's called?
Tu parles français?
It's called Parlez Français, which means speak French.
You French speak?
So, the premise of the show is that I'm going to put something into Google Translate, English to French. I'm going to play it in French to Ben. He's going to try and tell me what he thinks is being parlayed. And then I'll let him know if it's right.
Okay.
He gets 2 guesses. This is guess number 1.
Saviez-vous que les limaces ont 4 nez?
Any idea, Ben?
Nice and short.
Do you want to hear it again?
Yeah. You're allowed to hear it unlimited. One more time. I talked over it.
Saviez-vous que les limaces ont 4 nez?
I'll give you a clue.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll give you a clue. Because believe it or
don't
not,
speak
we don't parler français. It's something we talked about earlier. It's a question. I should have put a question mark at the end. Maybe there would have been an upward inflection.
Okay.
Savez-vous que les limaces
Question we
ont
asked earlier.
fournaise?
What, on the show?
Yeah.
What is your favourite Lord of the Rings quote?
I mean, that's a good guess.
Yeah.
Very good guess. I'll show you what it is.
Okay, tell me.
Did you know slugs have 4 noses?
Oh, what?
Did you know slugs have 4 noses? In French.
Saviez-vous que les limaces ont 4 nez?
Good try though.
But now our French listeners know what that question was, because until now it's all been
We've got quite a lot
gibberish
of French listeners.
to all our French listeners.
Play the fucking jingle!
Est-ce que tu parles français?
Non, madame, je n'ai pas l'air en français. Ouais.
We're on to the final part of the show now, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here.
Oh man, first podcast ever done. Happy as a clam, I must
Happy
say.
as Larry.
Yeah, mate. Where is that bastard?
Where is he? I'll just give him a reason to not be happy. All right, we're going to show you something now that it's never been, it's never been heard.
Nah.
So we wrote a song, when was it, last year or the year before?
Yeah. It was a little while back, to be honest with you, but it was good. It was after the sort of Revolver chapter of Kapichi.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that, when we sort of came into our own sort of sound.
Things started getting political.
Yeah, baby.
We wrote a song called Young, Angry, Violent as a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
You
I think
call
it was
us
at
that.
a time, there was a lot of sort of
Turmoil.
anti-youth news going around. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot of stuff was being directed generationally more than anything else. So it sort of like fueled that song.
It was youthist. It was very youthist.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I think we should just play it, let them hear it, we'll talk about it afterwards.
Yep. All right. Here you go. Give it a
Here
spin.
is Yavs, Young, Angry and Violent.
I saw on the news I should be scared of you and you and you and you. You saw the news too, you should be scared of me like I am scared of you. He's scared, she's scared, and you should be too. They're scared, we're scared, it's scary but true. They wonder why we're young, angry, violent, but he's scared of me. Are you scared of me? They wonder why we're young, angry, violent, but he's scared of me. London Bridge is falling down and everybody's got this new disease. There's no respect or so they say. The youth have brought this country to its knees. No, please. He's scared, she's scared, and you should be too. They're scared, we're scared, it's scary but true. They wonder why we're young, angry, violent, but he's scared of me. Are you scared of me? They wonder why we're young, angry, violent, but he's scared of me. I saw it on the news last night. I heard it on the news last night. I saw it on the news last night. I heard it on the news last night. Saw it on the news last night. Heard it on the news last night. Heard it on the news last night. We saw it on the news. They wonder why we're young, angry, violent, but he's scared of me. Are you scared of me? They wonder why we're young, angry, violent, but he's scared of me. Are you scared of me? They wonder why we're young.
And that was Young, Angry and Violent by Kid Kapichi.
Yes. Tell us what you think on the email, kapichipodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's always been like me and you. We sat down and that was
Yeah.
one of them rainy days of like, is this good? I
Yeah,
don't know.
man.
And then we were like, yes, it is good.
I think that there's a couple of bits that you and I hear it and we're like, oh, maybe we'll have an experiment with that,
100%.
experiment with that,
Yeah,
maybe
it's-
a few changes.
To make it clear, this is a demo.
Yeah.
It's a demo, and we would like to know from you guys. Email us whether you think it should be on the album or not. Because at the moment it's in a
limbo.
You know, imagine it's X Factor right now, and they've got like I don't know how X
It's
Factor
at
works
boot
anymore,
camp.
but it's at boot camp. This song is in boot camp. It might get to go to Simon Cowell's toilet, house, closet, whatever.
Yeah, but also it's not at the live final.
Could be on its way home back to Streatham if it's not careful. So this is Young, Angry and Violent, which you've heard. We want to know what you think of it. The reason we played it was because we seem to have a running theme, a bit. Call us Matt Groening, if you will. Groening. Call us Matt Groening, if you will. But I think we're pretty established for predicting the future with an H.
Yeah.
And Young, Angry and Violent has that one particular line in it.
Yeah.
What is it? London Bridge is falling down and everybody's got this new disease.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was written bloody way before all this happened.
Yeah, mate.
So let us know what you think.
Yeah, it's cool, man, because I think it's great. I think when we first did it, we sort of like, you know, of course we get into headspaces, but we just imagine that like a crowd shouting it back at you on the call and response.
Young, angry.
You know what I mean? It's got that vibe, but also it feels like very much like real. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels like now is the time for this to be a
It is, man. I think the truth is like
domain.
I think the thing is that like when we wrote that time, there was a lot to be, as in there still is all sorts of stuff going on, like, but I think it's weird, like, it's relevant, but also right now I'm feeling quite sort of like it's a time of unity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's like, I'm not saying that, because the thing is there's hard times coming, man. Don't be in any sort of like the confusion about that. But I think right now, I think this is a weird kind of recalibration for people how to live more simply. Like
I've never believed in the supernatural powers or whatever you want to call them, but I feel like we've made a lot of mistakes. Not us personally, but
as a race,
the world
race.
has kind of taken the wrong path for like the last 4 or 5 big opportunities. I'm not going to get into what. I think you all know. And it feels like if there ever was an all supreme power and being, this is their chance to go, look, you fucked up enough now. I'm resetting the whole thing and starting again. And if that's the case, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
In a sense of maybe that's what it needs. Maybe that's what it takes. Because it does feel like there's been a lot of madness in the last few years.
I mean, it's crazy, man. It's been like definitely a time where everything you think is going to happen for the greater good doesn't end up happening, and people just look like they're getting more divided and things like that.
Maybe this is what it takes to bring people together. And I know, cheesy as it might seem at times, that every 8 o'clock on a Thursday night, that's a beautiful thing. And the last time I was driving home from Tesco's, done the weekly shop, and I was seeing, that's what I love about England, when you see it, and people out there smashing pots with their like, that's the beautiful thing about this horrible situation. Maybe it has brought us together, and it's bringing out all these like beautifully eccentric people who are coming out and standing there and playing the saxophone and whacking the saucepans. Like, I love that.
I think it's true. I think like it definitely like levels people. I mean, like the truth is not to not acknowledge obviously how horrific it is for a lot of people, but my point being is that, like, you know, maybe something like this does bring people closer.
I think
together,
we're saying, hopefully something good comes out of a really horrible situation.
Exactly that. And off the back of it, hopefully we come out of it with a different mentality as a collective, as a human collective.
I think the thing is, none of us know how the world might be different after this.
Yeah,
and I think we're all coming to terms with the fact that the world might be different after this.
Nothing has affected the whole globe like fairly as equally as this thing has.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know, and we talk a lot about how our generation and other people, you know, but it's not just our generation, but lots of people who are involved in this situation, we've never really been through any sort of real...
Yeah, like proper sort of thing like this.
Life-changing. Yeah. This is a thing you're going to tell your grandkids about, and they're going to be like, what? You know, like...
You were there in the pandemic. You were at the COVID, man. Do you know what I mean?
It's a mental thing, and I think, like, if we all come together like we are, you know, it's not me saying, let's join forces. Like, if we all continue doing what we're doing, this feels like a re-stitching of a quilt that had been stretched too far.
Yeah, man, 100%.
Do you know what I mean?
100%. So if you're listening, feel unified with us and with everyone, if indeed you do. That would be...
I mean, we've never been further apart, but I feel closer than ever.
Yeah, man. 100%.
In a sort of
100%.
Gandhi way.
Well, listen, I think that's about time for us.
That was it. That was the Lockdown Lowdown.
Yeah.
And I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed recording it, because I had a good old time.
I had a great time.
So, yeah, let us know what you think. And Ben Beefham, play the jingle.
See you later, everybody.